Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy power. The Lord Yahweh thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakagadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to the Akim and the Akwaf, listening and learning. Shalom. This seek the Most High Kingdom. I'm going to do this quick video. Deshaun Jackson accepts a Holocaust survivor, Edward Mossberg, invite to visit Auschwitz. And if Jackson is willing to visit the Holocaust Memorial in Germany, shouldn't Mr. Mossberg be willing to visit the Ghanaian slave trade castles, so they both can learn? At least he will understand that ours was prophesied in Deuteronomy 28:68. We're going to read this article. It said Deshaun Jackson accepts an invitation to visit Auschwitz during a Zoom call Friday with a 94-year-old survivor of a Nazi concentration camp, according to the Jerusalem Post. So they made Deshaun Jackson, he apologized, saying he didn't mean anything anti-Semitic, which he is the original Jew, according to the Bible. You so-called Black, Latino, Mexican, Native Americans are the biblical Israelites. And it reads, continuing the article, the wide receiver was disciplined by the Philadelphia Eagles on Friday for conduct detrimental to the team for a social media post, which included an anti-Semitic message that he attributed to Adolf Hitler. Jackson was fined, a source told ESPN Tim McManus. The wide receiver also intends to donate a significant amount to the Jewish community efforts, a source told McManus. Jackson, who apologized for the post last week. Ghana slave castles. The shocking story of the Ghanaians' Cape Coast. This is the point of no return for those Israelites that was fled into the western part of Africa, who was captured by the so-called Edomites and Amalek and brought to the Americas. No one has apologized to us for that. We don't want your reparations, but yet you can't speak against the Jewish people. Continuing with the article, it said, take a close look at the coast of Ghana, and you will find a myriad of ancient castles and forts, making the beginning of the slave perilous journey during the era of the slave trade. These fortresses were the last memory slaves had of their homeland before being shipped off across the Atlantic, never to return again. Read more about the shocking history of Ghana slave fortress and their significance in the modern Ghanaian history. So my point is this. If Deshaun Jackson is willing to visit Auschwitz, Germany, shouldn't Mr. Mossberg be willing to go to travel to Ghana? I don't care if he's 94 years old, so he can learn that route, the journey that so-called Black, Latino, Mexican, Native Americans took, the point of no return, coming to Americas to be raped, robbed, and slaughtered, for centuries. I guess we can agree, anytime, someone take a human life, we can all agree, especially us Israelites, can agree that that is inhuman, but, when you take a human life and what you use it for is that you rape it, you rob it, you destroy it, you cut it open, you feed babies to alligators, you rape the men butt breaking, you rape the women, you make them fill your land for free for 100 years. Salakia, you've been filling and building up America from the early 1600s until 2020, and yet this devil, the so-called Edomites, who is the white man, he continued to shoot you out in the middle of the streets. They continue to pass every law and legislation that should be contrary to you so-called Black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans, and yet they want you to feel sorry for something that happened in 1941 when they continue to abuse you even to the day. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. But you so-called Black, Latino, Mexicans, Native Americans, you're stiff-necked people. You want to follow Balaam and other gods that are no gods. See, the only thing you so-called black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans had to do was just exercise, Deuteronomy 28:1, that we would have been set above all nations upon the face of the earth. Then you wouldn't have Deshaun Jackson having to apologize, to Amalek, somebody who's beneath him for the most part. But yet, because we are in captivity this day, we have to bow down to these wicked nations. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But if you so-called black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans fail to do and follow the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, this is the penalty. Just like Edom, Esau, the so-called white man, has a penalty of death coming to him, this was our penalty of our forefathers. And we are our forefathers. Again, this was our penalty of death for us. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And just to show us shit stink, these curses are upon us, and they have overtaken us. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43. And the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And that's what happened. The so-called, all the other nations, the heathen nations above us. You got Amalek, you got Esau, Edom. Amalek is just the head family of Esau, Edom, who is the white man. You got the heathen nations, Ammon, the so-called Japanese, Moab, Chinese. You have Tyrus and Sidon, the so-called African nations. And I guarantee if you read Psalms 83, there's a whole bunch of African nations that hate you so-called black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans. But some of you guys still fall into that Egyptology BS. Some of you guys think that y'all are from Africa. You're not from Africa. You're the biblical Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Repent. Now we're going to look at a couple of images, and we're going to come out of Deuteronomy 28:68. You got an Israelite man who the Esau, Edom, who is the white man, don't whip him so bad, just don't damage his whole back. But his life was not in his own hands. It was at the hands of Esau, Edom. In Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, and no man shall redeem you. When we came through Ghana, through the slave castles, the point of no return, we haven't been back to our homeland again, but we've been at the hands of Esau, Edom. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And this devil, Esau, Edom, who is the white man, they didn't show no favors to have mercy on the old or our young, according to that previous slide. So again, you have here Deshaun Jackson accepts a Holocaust survivor, Edward Mossberg, invite to Auschwitz. Again, because they still above us, because these curses are still on you so-called black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans, and the only way these curses are going to get lifted off us is when the Most High, Yahweh, Shai HaMashiach, come through with the clouds, with his chariots, and deliver us from this captivity. That's when the curses are lifted. Meanwhile, until then, Deshaun Jackson, who's in the NFL, who done made millions of dollars, he's a millionaire in his own rights, and he still got to bow down to someone. He got millions of dollars probably saved up. I'm not counting his money, but yet he still, don't have the freedom to speak, out against anyone. Why? Because he's still in captivity. He just don't understand the type of captivity he's in. And we know Deshaun Watson has been listening to the Israelites on the highways and the byways, but now, I'm pretty sure he got some kind of understanding, You know, he been listening to the Great Millstone, you know, videos, you know, and we know that right now he's saying to himself, damn, I really am in captivity. Here I am, a multimillionaire, and yet I can't even speak my mind. That is what you call captivity. James 1, verse 1. James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. And what 12 tribes are scattered abroad? You so-called Black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans. You are scattered abroad throughout America. You know, you need to return back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob. And his name is Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Matthew chapter 4 and verse 17. From the time Yahweh Shah began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And the kingdom of heaven is at hand for you so-called Black, Latino, Mexicans, and Native Americans, which I should say the elect of you so-called Black, Latino, Mexicans, and the Native Americans. You know, time is at hand. It's time to repent and come back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob. But we know 2/3 of you so-called Black, Latino, Mexican, Native Americans, you're going to have to get trial by fire. And the trial by fire is going to be your death, you know, are these ICBM missiles, you know, intercontinental ballistic missiles that Iran, Russia, Japan, really all the nations going to shoot over here and destroy America. You know, it's prophesied in the book, just as you so-called Black, Latino, Mexican, Native Americans were prophesied to come into slavery. America is prophesied to be destroyed. Again, Matthew chapter 4 and 17. From that time, Yahweh Shah began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You know, first and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to, and the Akim and the Akwaf listening and learning. I say Shalom, and again, to seek the Most High's kingdom.